Well, I want to say that my Chinese is not so great. But what was interesting is I was sitting here listening to everything that was going on about how successful the diamonds were, and I wasn't able to understand 1%. But what I was able to do was see the look on their faces and to see what this business has done to them. And to me, I was able to sense an energy that was part of every one of these people here, and that what they had been able to do was not only find something that gave them financial success, but gave them purpose. You see, to me, the most important thing to wake up in the morning is to have a purpose. If you wake up in the morning and you're bored with your job or you don't like what you're doing, the quality of your life is really not at its best. But if you can find a job, you can find a business that not only gives you financial success, but allows you to improve the quality of other people's lives as well as your own, you have the ultimate purpose to get up each day. And I think, without a question, what Giampapa gives you is not just a pathway to financial success, but the ability to find the ultimate purpose in life, and that is for you to be able to touch other people, improve the quality of your lives and other people's lives. And that's what I saw up here. And when you have that type of purpose, you can't help but want to get up every morning and give 100% effort to accomplish what you want to accomplish. So you don't have to understand languages, you have to understand energy. And I was extremely impressed with what I saw here this morning. And I want to just congratulate all these people here who have found purpose in their lives through the products and science behind Giampapa. I just think that was one of the most touching things I was able to see at this whole meeting today. So congratulations. So today I'm supposed to speak about reserve, and getting back to reserve and why this is such a unique product. I think I'm going to review a little bit more about what we talked about yesterday as well, but I want to make another comment. I guess the last speaker here was, I think, highly motivating, and to me, once you become financially successful, you have to have somebody to help you manage your assets, right? Because after all, what's money without management? And if your assets aren't taken care of, you don't get the best value out of everything that you've worked for. I kind of want to turn that around a little bit and say to you, the most important asset you have, every one of you have, is your present health and your future health. Because I've sat with some very wealthy people, and I said to them, how valuable would it be to you to have another 2 or 3 years of extremely healthy, productive life so that your business, you could have that time with your family, your business, but really feel good and enjoy them. And the comments I've gotten back were, name your price. And these are people who can afford anything. And once you can afford anything, one of the things you really, up until the present, couldn't buy was better health and maybe some extra time as well. So what we're going to be talking about today is a whole new aspect in what's happening in cells and aging and where the future is going and really what we're doing right now. So I'll get started with what I think is the ultimate asset you can all have and begin to manage yourselves with the science and product of Giampapa, and that's improving your present health and even improving your future health. So when we're going to roll this video again, we showed this yesterday, so let's take a look at what happens, basically the basic unit of our bodies. As I said yesterday, we're made up of 100 trillion cells. Our stem cells and our body cells are the key things we have to keep healthy. And our cells make up our organs, make up our systems, and make up our body, and that all has to be in balance. The regenerative potential of stem cells are really what it's all about. And inside those cells, if we go inside that cell again, everything we talk about really is focused here on our DNA. And it's the damage to that DNA, it's the damage to the chromosomes, and it's a shortening of our telomeres that all cause us to age or lose what we really have to consider our most important asset. But as our cells age, these cells that help the aging cells produce these negative compounds. And just the past year or two, we really are starting to look at what do these unhealthy, or what we call senescent cells, do. And why is it that when you see somebody you haven't seen for maybe a few years, you look at them and you say, my God, they got so old so quickly. How many people have noticed they've run into friends and said, wow. I mean, it's one of those things that you start to wonder, why do they look so old all of a sudden? Well, what we found out is as you age, if these unhealthy cells build up, they actually cause your healthy cells to age quicker. So what we did is we took these young mice, and we were looking at their cells, and they had very few unhealthy cells. And as these mice got old, these animals got old, we looked at their tissues and found out these unhealthy cells, the ones here in blue, were creating compounds. We call those growth factors, like we have growth factors in the serum that help make your skin look better and function better from stem cells. We found out that as people age, those unhealthy cells produce negative growth factors. And all the cells surrounding these unhealthy cells aged quicker. And that animal looked older, that didn't really run around the cage, it kind of lost its hair, it got fat. So what we did was create a vaccine. And the vaccine we injected into that mouse only killed or removed the unhealthy cells. Well, guess what happened? Not only did that old-looking, lazy mouse look better, it started to act younger. Not only did it act younger, it almost was as if that animal stopped aging. Its aging process slowed down. So we started to look at what compounds could really help keep those unhealthy cells under control, or what could we do to slow the formation of those healthy cells. So yesterday we were talking about the aging process is really a continuum, right? And we go from healthy cells to slightly damaged cells to more damaged cells, and in the worst case scenario, cancer. And as we go through this process, that's when you start to see aging and, gee, what happened to my youthful body? I don't have the energy. It's all due to the accumulation of these unhealthy cells impacting our lives and impacting how we age. So again, the secret here is to try to stay in what we call that optimal aging window, where the ratio of our unhealthy cells is much less, and it should be somewhere around the 70-30 mark. 70% healthy cells and 30% kind of unhealthy cells to really keep you in good health. We actually have created a test where we can look at in your blood and see what your ratio of healthy versus unhealthy cells are. So we don't want to shift that. So let's talk about reserve, and what does reserve really do? So reserve is a very unique product. And initially when I saw this product and we were looking at the ingredients of this product, I was very impressed, but I don't think the original thought process behind this product really was what no one realized the impact of what was going on. And recently, the research about this compound called resveratrol. We've all heard about resveratrol, right? So this compound has an interesting effect. What it does, I'm going to go back. Okay. What it does is the following. If you see, there's a gene that we discovered called mTOR, and that gene gets activated, and that's what pushes all these cells towards unhealthy cells. And if you can kind of deactivate that gene even a little bit, the amount of unhealthy cells your body produces is less. So in essence, what we're looking at now, what we're seeing now is reserve not only contains resveratrol, which puts the brakes on, so to speak, of this mTOR gene that makes unhealthy cells, but reserve also has a number of other very important ingredients. It's a blend of antioxidants, and again, what we found out, what triggers the aging process in cells is damage to the DNA, okay, and that's what activates this mTOR gene. The other thing that happens is when your damage to your DNA occurs, your telomeres start to shorten, which which are those clocks that tell your cells how many times they can actually make copies of themselves. So slowing that process down with the right antioxidants, with special compounds that inhibit that unhealthy gene, a gene that makes unhealthy cells, is a major addition to really staying healthy. So one of the nice things about Reserve is it's experiential. And to me, I don't know how many people have taken vitamins. The doctor says, oh, you have to take vitamins. But when you take your vitamins, you really don't feel an experience or a change in how your energy is or the other things that usually occur with a product that really, really lets you know you've been taking it. Now, when you take Reserve, and again, I'll talk about the timing of taking these products because there seems to be a little confusion about that also. But Reserve not only has the antioxidants and the right blend of natural occurring things that limit the damage to your DNA, it also has a number of products that help with your cardiovascular function, things that help your immune system, and a lot of this has to do with decreasing inflammation. You know, and also over the last decade, what we found out is inflammation inside your body is what causes, and just really what makes just about every disease of aging move on very quickly or appear very quickly. So inflammation is a key factor in aging. Okay? Reserve not only gives you a lift of energy, but it keeps your antioxidant levels more stable throughout the day. So when you take Reserve and AM, PM together, what you're really doing is loading your cells with everything they need for a full day of optimal function. You're inhibiting the actual production of these unhealthy cells. You're actually limiting the damage to your genetic software, your DNA, and you're actually improving that ratio of unhealthy versus unhealthy cells. And yesterday I was speaking about this 3-month mark. You see, every 3 months you have a complete new set of DNA. Okay? And you'll see, I've noticed people taking this product at about 3 months feel and look very different. Okay? And as they continue to take that product, they actually feel even better and look better. Their body weight changes, their skin quality gets dramatically better, and their hair and nails grow. I've had people complain to me that they have to get haircuts more often and do their nails more often. Well, I mean, that's a good sign. That's a sign of youth. Okay? So the solution from the origin of the aging process is not just AM and PM, which is really the base product that allows a lot of the other, all the other products to work synergistically. But really it's the combination of AM, PM, and Reserve together that really targets and focuses on the latest research in how cells age and how our bodies age. So how many people here are taking Reserve on a regular basis? If you're not, you need to. So let me explain to you what I recommend based upon what we know about cellular clocks. So we talked yesterday about in the evening, your body really needs to sleep because when you're asleep, your body repairs itself, okay? And the secret here is to load your body up with the right things in different parts of the day. So with the AM product, your body has the ingredients it needs for those cells to function with the optimal energy, so it gets you throughout the day. In the evening, there's different groupings of supplements and plant extracts in the evening formula that helps your cells go into what's called a repair state. Okay. So what about during the day? I mean, I tell all my patients, and they all use our GNS products, is to take the Reserve during the afternoon. And it is tremendous. It helps them with their energy level for the rest of the day. It loads them up with the antioxidants so they have a more level amount of DNA fighting compounds and the compound to help keep those cells from becoming unhealthy cells. So I recommend to all my patients, if you take your AM tablet in the morning, your PM tablet in the evening, you take your Reserve in the midday or even late morning for that extra energy boost. And what that does is allow your body to have a much more level and continuous amount of the key ingredients those cells need to stay healthy and to fight the aging process. So when you look at our whole overview of products, you just saw that Dr. Amslag did a phenomenal review of the skincare products. Well, those skincare products also have a timing around them, right? You do the cleansing in the morning, you do your sunscreen or moisturizer in the morning, you have your evening repair product, the cream that's used to help repair, because repair occurs while you're asleep in the evening. So many of you may not have been aware, but when these products were designed, they were designed to meet the needs of the body when the body needs them. So taking Reserve, you take Reserve and AM, PM, what you're going to find is taking them at the right time makes them work even better. And so yesterday, a lot of people were asking me and telling me, well, I take everything in the morning. Well, okay, the fact that you're taking it is good, because you wouldn't be getting the essential nutrients and phytochemicals you need, but more importantly, start thinking about taking the product when your body needs them optimally. So I think this is something that we should emphasize a little bit more in the future, is that each one of these products has an optimal time for its benefit. Affinity is a product that I recommend you take in the evening, because again, that's when cell repair is occurring, and that's when protection of your telomeres, those aging clocks, are really going to be optimally receptive to the ingredients in there. So when you're looking at the products, keep in mind that these products really are not only great, but they really have, if you will, an optimal time to take them for the optimal benefits. Right? Okay, so let's briefly talk about this. Again, yesterday we talked about the fact that, you don't inherit genetic certainty, you inherit genetic tendencies. And there's nobody in this room who cannot make an unbelievable difference in how they feel, how they act, and how their bodies look. Okay? How many people in here are over 50 years of age? A good number. 50 is a new 30. Okay, so feel better about that. How many people here are over 60? Okay, that's quite a bit, okay? And guess what? 60 is the new 40. Okay? How many people here are 70? All right, how many people here are 65 and older? 65 and older. Okay? Guess what? 65 is the new 42. Okay? So you have to, and a lot of this is in your mind, because guess what? You not only have the products, you have the science, you have the information, and in the future you'll have even more opportunities to benefit from the science of what's going on with cellular aging. So what does this, well, let me go back to this for a second. Genes. Some of my books, in fact, my books will be available through Jeunesse. There's 6 different books I've written. A lot of them talk about the lifestyle changes that are very simple you can make so that your genes work better. And for instance, the Gene Makeover, The Gene Makeover is a book I wrote about 4 years ago, which tells you what each one of those compounds in AMPM affects and how it impacts different genes to improve how you age. But it also tells you diet, exercise, and different types of things that you can use with the products from Jeunesse that will make those products work even better. Breaking the Aging Codes is a great book if you're interested in the impact of meditation and stress reduction on aging. So I'll briefly just mention something. People who take just 5 minutes a day, to sit and relax and clear their mind, and particularly in the beginning of the day, before you start your busy day, and visualize what you want to accomplish for the day, actually visualize it happening. What we found out scientifically, the stress levels are much lower. What does that mean? That means cortisol, which is the age accelerating hormone, stays lower all day long. But it also means that they end up being much more successful in accomplishing what they want to accomplish. So all of these things really impact not just, taking products to be healthier, but starting to really understand it's about your whole lifestyle in general. Now, what I'd like to do is give you a brief look. This is about a 3.5-minute video on where we're going in the future, why the importance of keeping those unhealthy cells to to a minimal level, and why reserve is really the first step in a product that's available to the masses, and why that's important. So can we roll this video real quick?
I relish the rare opportunity I've been given to live the life of the mind. But I know I need my body, and that it will not last forever. As we age, and we make copies of cells, tiny errors creep into our genes. This process seems inevitable, but stem cell researchers disagree.
One of them is Dr. Vincent Giampapa. He believes our body's own natural reserves of stem cells can stem the tide of decay.
The origin of the aging process really starts in our stem cells, because that is the reservoir of the regenerative power and the ability to have our body cells renewed and repaired as we age.
The stem cells we have in our adult bodies are not all powerful like embryonic stem cells. They are specialized to replenish specific tissues we need to maintain ourselves, like blood, bone, skin, and muscle. As we age, however, this repair system begins to break down.
What we've learned recently is there is a clock, if you will, inside the cells that actually changes, or if you will, ticks as each year goes by. And as that happens, certain genes get turned off and other genes get turned on.
Our DNA is not frozen over our lifetime. Our environment and the choices we make influence and change our genetic profile.
So if we live in a healthy environment, that genetic clock is slower. If we live in an unhealthy or stressful environment, the genetic clock accelerates.
We can think of the DNA inside one of our body's stem cells like a newspaper.
So this morning, I picked up this newspaper in my driveway, and I have a nice clean newspaper, but I might drop that newspaper in the street and it might wrinkle or get dirty. Well, as the day goes on, I might spill some coffee on this newspaper. It might even rain this afternoon. The key thing here is I'm not going to be able to get another copy of this newspaper. But as we age, what happens to those young cells is the letters on that DNA start to get damaged of normal aging from the environment, and that newspaper, or if you will, that cell, becomes less efficient. We really can't read the information, and that cell then can't make accurate copies of itself, which then rapidly accelerates the aging process.
But Vincent believes this aging process can be reversed. His research team at the Cell Health Institute claims it has already begun rolling back the cellular clock on our body's natural supply of stem cells.
What we're really doing is using the proteins from younger cells from another person to reprogram older cells from a different person. What we've seen already in our early studies is that those senescent genes that produce inflammatory compounds and things that are directly related to cancer have actually been reversed. They've been turned off. So that's been a very good sign that most likely, in the long run, this will certainly be a safe therapy in the next few years.
So, this was shown on the Discovery Channel about 8 months ago, and our research has actually moved forward. But what I want to try to stress is the basic science behind keeping both your stem cells and your body cells healthy is already built into the products of Jeunesse. Okay? Reserve has one of the most potent ingredients we know of that's a non-prescription compound that actually slows the development of these unhealthy cells. If you look at the combination of reserve and AM/PM, what you're looking at is feeding your bodies the most important combinations of ingredients to not only adjust that genetic clock, but to keep the damage to your software, your aging software, your DNA at its minimum. So where are we going from here? Okay, and what are we doing now? So we talked about asset management, okay, and I think it was Yvonne who was talking about, she used to work for a financial company, and people paid her to manage her assets, those financial assets. But what's your most important asset is your health. And where does your health stem from? From your stem cells and your body cells. So what we do at Cell Health Institute is we manage your assets. And what we do right now is freeze your most important assets in time. And in 2 hours, what we do, you'll see me here on the left, I'm simply just sitting down watching TV. And in 2 hours, we can remove hundreds of millions of your stem cells. Freeze them in time so they stop aging. Put them in a special vault, if you will, or bank vault, and we call it a biobank. And when I need those cells in the future, 5 years, 10 years from now, I'll not only get back cells, my own cells, but I'll be getting back cells that are completely the healthy variety, but that are younger than I was when I took them, so their function is better, okay? Now, on the other picture is my 28-year-old son. So you might ask, well, why would I want to collect his cells? He's young. Well, the reason we're collecting not only his cells, but almost 100 other young people is when we collect them between the ages of 21 and maybe 35 or 40, we get stem cells that are perfectly healthy. And by putting those in the bank, so to speak, my son, or anyone who's in that age group, when they're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, can not only go back and get more of their stem cells, but get back the stem cells that are going to actually restore and rejuvenate their bodies and their health better than anything they can possibly have. So this new form of what we call bioinsurance is finally available, and is basically available for anyone. And this is where our present therapy and research is with keeping health optimally healthy. So in the past, you couldn't really stop the aging process. Well, we can now. And the most important part of you, that is your regenerative power, your stem cells, can be frozen in time, stop the aging process, and be available for you in the future. So what about those of us who said, oh, we're older than 45, we're 55, we're 65, we're 75, we're 85. Well, the research I was showing here on this video has already documented we can take older cells and with a special process grow them together with younger cells and actually completely reverse the aging process in the old stem cells. Put them in the bank, and in the near future, give those back to you. But the real secret here is not ignoring or just saying, well, I'll just go have my stem cells collected and restored and given back to me later. But the real secret here is living a lifestyle with the right products and the right exercise and diet to help slow that process, because the more you do that, the better the quality of the cells are. So when we come to adult stem cell collection, the future will be collecting, actually the future is now. You can collect and store your cells. You can collect and reprogram your cells. But the real focus is how do you stay healthy at the moment until you need them, and you need a system. And you need the science behind that system. And that's what Genesis is bringing to you. There's no other company that has reached millions of people with the science. Okay? So, here's a picture. This is your 65-year-old speaker. And this is basically where any of you could be. I've been following this program for the last 12 years. So, that's the new 65, okay? And if any of you think you can't do it, well, it's just a matter of being focused, have the right science, and really want to lead by example. So when you're out there as, again, distributors, I don't call you distributors, I call you ambassadors of health, because you not only have the products, you have the science behind them to really touch people and make a difference in their lives. And to me, there's nothing more rewarding than to have a job or being involved in a business which gives you financial security, at the same time purpose, because without purpose, money means very little. But most importantly, you're touching other people's lives, and that's good karma. And that comes back to you. And that's all about what was spoken about this morning prior to my talk about the energy. You have the science, you have purpose, and you have, I think, truly been blessed being involved with this company that gives you everything you need, not just for financial success, but for a life that's going to be, without a question, a longer, healthier life, with the ability to touch other people along with your success.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a big